Good evening, Habs fans. It's the Habs Tonight community doing a quick post-game show after the Montreal Canadiens finally clinched that last playoff spot. They made it tough on the fans, Shane, coming back again to just get that 1 point they needed to clinch. But, hey, they're in the dance now. It's a new season.
There you go. When we got, let's see here, we have Danault, Weber, Drouin, Price, and Gallagher who are going to come back for the playoffs. So not only a new season, but a new team as well. Like, you got to expect a different team, a different style, and more energy, that's for sure. But once again, not a bad game tonight either. Like we held our own even though we lost.
Oh, for sure. And then just like you were saying, they come back to this game tonight. You're saying a new team with all these guys out injured that are going to be coming back. But after tonight's spectacle, I'm curious to see if they can do it again Wednesday night. Is that Byron, Lehkonen, Evans line? I mean, how good were they tonight?
The Scorpion line. For those of you who didn't watch the pregame show, and Nick made a fantastic joke, and the butt of the joke was the word scorpion. So if you haven't checked out the pregame, please do. But we nicknamed that line the Scorpion line. But man, the chemistry, like out of nowhere. Byron just comes back first game. What does he have tonight? Like a goal and an assist? Yeah, a goal and an assist, +2. +3. He was +3 tonight. 4 shots on goal. And Lecky and Evans just doing what they usually do. Amazing game for them. Yeah, very encouraging.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I caught quickly before we went live was Byron was talking that Ducharme told him earlier on today that they would be matched up against the McDavid line. And he said that fired him up mentally, where tonight was a playoff game. His first game back, some guys try to ease into it, like they say, but Byron was on fire tonight. That whole line is just very fast, very defensive, can turn the puck over. And I'm curious if they can do that again Wednesday. We might have, I don't like putting numbers on it, but like, if that's the fourth line going into playoffs against the Leafs, watch out because they looked really good tonight.
For sure. And you touched on the fact that they played against McDavid. McDavid finished with a -1 tonight, even though he had a goal and an assist. So like he was on the ice for like pretty much all of our goals, which is crazy. But yeah, if that's our fourth or third line, I am pleased. I love it. And we had the debate when Stahl came over, is Evans going to stay or not? And I mean, there's no debate anymore. It's a clear-cut answer. Evans has a spot on the team.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing they mentioned on the broadcast tonight, too, was with that line of Lehkonen, Evans, and Byron, those are the guys that have been getting scratched when the whole team's healthy. But, I mean, they made a hell of, I don't know what you could, like a proposition to keep that line together and keep them in the lineup. So Dom's going to have some tough choices here. We don't know who they're going to face right now. It's either the Leafs or the Oilers, depending how Winnipeg does here. But the only thing that mattered tonight was getting that point. I know it wasn't pretty, but we've brought up the schedule multiple times on the show. And I don't care who you are or how much money you make. You're playing 7 games in 11 days. The only team to play 4 games a week for the last 6 weeks. You just got to give it to the guys that hung in there. They made the playoffs. Like you said, everybody's going to be back and healthy. I think you see a different team come next week when playoffs start.
No doubt about it. I mean, they're going to be so fired up because they're the underdogs, right? Everyone's counting them out, no matter who we're playing. So they have a chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove. And they have the whole team healthy, hopefully. So I'm expecting some fireworks. It's going to be really fun.
Oh, for sure. And just to touch on more on tonight's game, because we are doing the post-game show, is I found Caulfield didn't bury his chances there, but I like the idea that he is still able to find those open spots in the NHL, and I think it's only a matter of time till that timing and everything comes to him, and we'll see him scoring those one-timers and stuff that he whiffed on tonight. But overall, I thought it was a decent game. The Habs don't make it easy. They get the early lead, 1-0 by that line again, and then the Oilers come back. And as a fan, you're like, oh, my God, here we go again. Not another one. But the comeback kids came back tonight just to get that 1 point. I know it would have been nice for them to win in overtime, but, hey, we'll take the 1 point. We'll go to the playoffs, get healthy, get rested. It's an exciting time to be a Habs fan because if it's Habs versus Leafs, it'll be wild.
Yeah, I don't remember when's the last time that happened. They keep mentioning. Yeah, they keep mentioning the year 1979. That's nuts. That's nuts. But it's going to be one for the ages, that's for sure. I mean, both teams are going to be healthy. the fire under their ass, and then they have something to prove, right? But something to check on, like happening right now, is the Winnipeg and Vancouver game. The Canucks are winning 2-1 right now. If Winnipeg keeps losing and we keep, getting points, we might be playing against the Oilers. So that's another interesting thing, facing stupid McDavid again. Oh boy.
I think we'll kind of almost know after Wednesday night's game that who the Montreal Canadiens will be facing. And I think it's Dale and I for sure. It's an earlier start Wednesday. I think it's a 5 p.m. Eastern time start. So Dale and I are going to hop on after the game and kind of do like a Habs playoff preview kind of show where like fans can jump in. We'll get their opinions on it as well. So that should be exciting. So that's We See Wednesday this week, is just a playoff preview for the Montreal Canadiens and rallying this fan base behind a team that just kind of crawled into playoffs, but we all know that was due to injuries and being tired. So exciting show Wednesday. But now that the season, I know it's not technically over, Shane, I want to get your thoughts on who's the unsung hero of the Montreal Canadiens this year.
Jake Evans, easily. I mean, you can make a case for Corey Perry, you can make a case for Jake Allen, but I feel like they've had their praise, and they've been praised to their value. Like, I still feel like, man, Jake Evans is still so underrated. I've touched on it before, but I remember last season I went to a game in Florida against the Panthers, and our only goal, we lost the game, but the only goal that we scored was Jake Evans, and he just repped it. Like, he's got a crazy wrister, and he showed it again tonight. Sick shot. So no, this guy, every time he got cut out of the lineup, came back in, played even better. So he just kept fighting. That's the kind of guy you want on the team long term, right? You want him long term, because the leadership he's going to bring further along too is going to be crazy. So Jake Evans, without a doubt, unsung hero of the season.
And if, like we touched on earlier, is if Byron and Lehkonen play like they do tonight, like this Noah pointed out, let's hope Lecky goes into playoff mode. I love the way Lehkonen and Byron play. I always have. I know, like, I wish they'd get more points, but hey, the way they play defensively and the energy, especially with the Gallagher gone, I hope that line stays together, just because like tonight was insane. Like, they're the only ones producing, and that's not shitting on the team. It was just that line took their role tonight and absolutely ran with it, and it provided all the energy tonight, all the scoring. I just want to get your thoughts on I don't like to do lineup predictions because we're obviously not coaches in the NHL, but would you be comfortable using that line as, let's say, a third or fourth line?
Definitely. I mean, like, obviously you got, let's see here again. You got Danault coming back. So I'm thinking as it's panning out, Stahl will be the one who takes a seat for Danault, and then Drouin. So Drouin and Gallagher coming back too. I'm kind of scared for Caulfield a little bit there. I don't know who else would be taken out, because, like you said, the Byron, Lehkonen, and Evans line, they deserve to stay together, and we need them to stay together. So once all those guys come back in, it's almost impossible to make lineup predictions. I can't. Yeah. So,
and Nick pointed out too, like, that's one good thing about Jake Allen this year playing so well is last year when the Habs went into the bubble, Carey Price played like one exhibition game and then right into Carey Price playoff mode. So if we get a healthy rested Carey Price like last year's bubble, a healthy lineup, it could spell, like you said, there's no pressure on the Montreal Canadiens this year. If they're facing Toronto Maple Leafs, who went all in, as they say, a lot of pressure on the Leafs. And if the Habs get up in a series or something like that, watch out, because I think this team is capable of doing more than what they've showed down the stretch here. Just a condensed schedule and the no rest kind of got to them, especially the injuries to key players. I mean, that's a few of your top six, a top pairing D, and your top goalie going down and still making playoffs, which is awesome to see the resiliency come out of the Montreal Canadiens.
That's huge. It's huge. I mean, you lose Gallagher, who's the heart of the team. I mean, the impact that showed when he left, like we started losing, we had no energy, and then we kind of found our way back. But you got Carey Price too, number one goalie, Weber, who's the captain, even though some people say he's shifty this season, not always there, but the leadership, like his presence on the locker room and on the ice is so important to the team. So very important guys that were out of the lineup, but
Yeah.
the boys found a way to stay in. And I have to give props to Dumbsham here. He got shit on a lot for no reason, in my opinion. He took on a team mid-season, and he ran with it. I mean, he tried different line combinations. Some worked, some didn't. Tonight, I appreciated when Merrill and Romanov weren't playing too good together. He switched them like without hesitation. Put Romanov with Chirot and kind of level things out. It went better as the game went on. So I think Dumbsham deserves a lot of credit here.
No, I agree too. And I know a lot of people have been at him just for the line combos and stuff, but he's trying to find any kind of thing to make it work right now. I know some moves we don't agree with, but hey guys, we are not coaches, so don't shit on us. But he came into a team where there's barely any practice time as it is in this condensed schedule. Then the Habs at the COVID, and then they have to play 4 times a week for the last 5 weeks of the year. So on these days off, like they didn't have 2 consecutive days off for 5 weeks. He's got no time to practice. I know he can try to teach his systems and all of his stuff like that, but it's got to be tough for him. And I agree, he does deserve some credit because with the injuries to the impact players and not having practice time, you got guys jumping into spots they don't normally play in. I have to agree with you, Shane. I think that was a great point. He deserves some credit, not to get shit on all the time. The Habs made the playoffs. That's the goal. These players know, yes, okay, they don't have home ice, but they also know that it's a new season. What you did in the regular season doesn't matter now. It's a best of 4 playoff series. Anything can happen. So I agree. I like where the Habs are at, and I like where you're pointing with Dominic Ducharme. I really do.
Yeah, and like to go back on the defense here, it seemed to be one of our biggest weaknesses this season, like inconsistent defense. And I don't know how Weber coming back in is going to change that. Tonight was also kind of rough at times, but I'm just so happy with Petrie and Edmondson together. I think those two have got to stick together no matter what. Once again tonight, I mean, let's see here. Both guys, Edmondson finished with a +3. Petrie finished with 0, well, ±0, but they were in the positives. They're doing everything right together, and the chemistry's there. So the rest can be figured out as time goes on. Where do you put Romanov? Where do you put Chirot? Does Brett Kulak stay in the lineup? I mean, that's another interesting thing.
I'd like for him to stay.
I think he played well tonight. One thing I would like from him though is a little more physicality, because I've noticed too many times in front of the net, goalie's getting hit a little, and then Kulak just stands there. Nothing. I'm not bashing him or anything. He does a good job tonight. He played well, 2 shots on goal, 0 ±, but I want to see him get a little more involved physically. Like, just if a guy's getting at the goalie, shove him, get him off. Show that you're a part of the team and you want to protect your goalie and stuff like that. That's the only thing I think he's missing. If he adds that physicality, because he's a big dude, like he can hit.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If he can add that physicality, he's a lock. You have to keep him at on the team, because Merrill and Gustafsson have had some issues there. Merrill was -2 tonight, 4 giveaways, better on the tougher side. But if Kulak can really stay consistent, start hitting more, I think he's a lock.
Yeah, and like most of the fans here point out, physical game in the playoffs. That's why I've said it before, I don't like calling out lines essentially, but you think with Weber coming back, he's going to go with Chirot. You got Petrie, Edmondson. I think you almost got to stick with Romanov, and Kulak. Just the way they've played down these last few games. I know some guys are struggling, but I do think it is a fatigue factor that you can't really overcome. I mean, you can do everything you can to get ready for the game, but if you don't have legs, you don't got anything. So just happy they made it in here. It's a big one. It sounds bad. It's a big 1 point tonight.
It is.
And we have one super chat here.
Ooh.
The Leafs are a better team, but maybe an upset.
That's true.
You can't argue that. I mean, it's facts. The Leafs are built better. They are, like we said, they went all in this year. They traded all their first-round picks. They built a decent lineup. I like what Dubas has done, and that's coming from a Habs fan. But we said it before, all the pressure's on the Toronto Maple Leafs now, if that's who, in fact, the Montreal Canadiens are playing. Because if the Montreal, let's say, goes up 2-0 on them, I know it's not over, but like the pressure in that city would be wild.
Yeah. Oh, you said it perfectly there. I mean, they have everything to lose right now, and we have nothing to lose. We're coming in as underdogs. But to touch on that point, like the Leafs are no doubt one of the best offensive teams, if not the best offensive team in the league. Like all four of their lines can hit you and they can kill you. And defensively too, like they have some very good offensive defensemen. You know, Jake Muzzin has stepped up somehow. Morgan Riley too. You can't sleep on him. The question here is goaltending for me, because sure, Jack Campbell has been amazing, and you got to love Jack Campbell. You got a great story there, but is he going to be ready for the playoffs, or are they going to roll with Freddie Anderson, who's getting lit up in the AHL right now? So the goaltending situation in Toronto is interesting, but they're definitely the favorites in that matchup.
For sure, and that's a great point. So the Leafs with goaltending, Freddie Anderson comes back. I assume you play him a game or two before playoffs just to get him back up to speed, because that was a conditioning stint in the NHL or the AHL. Sorry. And if he falters a bit, and let's say Jack Campbell's the starter come playoffs and he gets lit up, I don't know if I like that goalie tandem as much as I like Price and Allen. So that's one thing I think the Habs do kind of outduel the Toronto Maple Leafs per se. I know Jack Campbell's been on fire, but if I'm a coach, I take Price and Allen 100%. And I know it's because I'm a Habs fan, but there's some questionable lineup decisions with Ducharme, and it's going to be tough for him, I think. I mean, you've got some good guys playing well, but you also have the wily vets that have the experience as well. I know some fans don't like hearing that, but it's a completely different beast.
Yeah, that's the only concern with Stahl is, I mean, he's not been doing too hot lately, but the guy won a Stanley Cup, and he's he's the oldest guy on the team. He's got insane experience. At one point, he was one of the best players in the league. So it's interesting to see if you just want to have him on the lineup because of experience, and he knows how to get a Stanley Cup. He's been there. So Ducharme does not have his work cut out for him. Him and his team have a lot of consideration to do, a lot of analyzing. I do not want to be him right now. It's a tough position to be in. Oof.
Oh, for sure. I'm just happy that the fans don't have to deal with like another 2 days of not knowing if they've clinched. It was just everybody knew how big of a game it was, and like that last minute and a half, and I was like, oh, come on, please.
Yeah.
Let's just get this over with tonight. Let's clinch, let everybody chill. But hey, they got it done. We mentioned earlier how they just clawed their way into playoffs. I don't know if they clawed their way, and they just kind of staggered their way into playoffs, but it's a different season, and they get a week's rest, so it's gonna be big. Just what a roller coaster of a year per se. They start out absolutely on fire. Everybody's planning the parades, me in particular, and then you see that mid-season lull, right? So it was just an up and down season. I'm just happy they got to earn their spot in playoffs this year compared to last year.
Yeah, last year we didn't really earn it, but hey, we did the most out of it. We beat the Penguins. Sorry, Alyssa, if you're watching. But no, like you said, the crazy season we had. I mean, it was a bit stained by some weird plays, like Armia hit to the head, all the hits to the head, actually, all of them, because there are too many to count. The weird goaltending interference calls that shafted us. There's so many stories coming out of this season, but like you said, it's a new season coming right now. We're starting fresh. The series are 0-0, so you come in with a good attitude, healthy bodies, and that's all you need. That's all you need.
I like this question from Dan. I'll let you go first, Shane. Who do you think would be the playoff player on the Habs roster this year?
Josh Anderson.
Oh, I like that.
No hesitation. Josh Anderson. The power horse, okay? A guy like Josh Anderson, who's so big, strong, fast, is the guy you need in the playoffs because he's going to destroy everybody. He's going to wear them down. And he's going to play in their minds too, right? Because you got a big guy going by you like that. You know, you're a defenseman. That starts to play in your head. You're like, oh, shit, maybe he is, like, too good for me. So, like, as time goes along, I think Josh Anderson is going to be the playoff guy.
I like that pick. I'm going to say I think Brendan Gallagher is going to be the guy this year. Just him coming back healthy with Anderson, with Perry. I like the grit and skill the Montreal Canadiens have. So I'm going to go with Gally being the playoff player for the playoffs this year. Dan, I said playoffs about 8 times there, so my bad, guys. But it's tough. Somebody was saying Mick G's got the winner tonight. Yeah, McDavid's going to score on any breakaway. It seems like the guy's got 102 points now, leading the NHL. So I think I think his assist total this year might tie him for third with Marner's total points. Like, it's absolutely wild what McDavid's done this year.
He's got 69 assists with 33 goals. That's not even fair. That's not even fair.
No,
whatever.
And that's one thing about being like watching McDavid a lot more this year than I normally do, because the North Division is him and Draisaitl are just mutants out there, and like they make it look so easy. Some people have the debate where does McDavid do this in a normal season against other teams? I know you and Nick touched on this earlier in O2 of the league, but maybe I'd like to get your thoughts about some McDavid and Draisaitl stuff, just because the Habs played them tonight, and some of the viewers that don't understand French can maybe get a peek at what you guys said.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it a little there, like you said. I still think McDavid can do what he did this season. Obviously, there's a little advantage coming with, you know, getting to know the teams, getting to know their weaknesses and exploiting them. And when you have a player as smart as McDavid is, he's bound to, you know, get 102 points against you. But even against all, well, it's going to be 32 teams now, but he's bound to find a weakness in every single team. And you already know he does his homework. Like, before every game, this guy's watching film. He's you know, he's studying the players. So I'm not surprised whatsoever. He is the best player in the world for a reason. No, I think this is just the start for him. Next season's going to be even better. I'm scared.
And that's the thing. Like, even tonight, Draisaitl and McDavid, I think they got 2 points each. Or I know McDavid got 2 for sure, but they already hit their milestones. Like, Draisaitl had his 400th career point last game. McDavid hits 100. So they didn't really have anything to get up for tonight. And if, let's say, Montreal passes Toronto, I don't know if you want to play a pissed off McDavid and Draisaitl in playoffs. Because I mean, like, they still take over the league now without like any, you know what I mean? Like, any motivation tonight, and they're still putting up points quite easily.
It's definitely scary. I mean, you know, pick your poison, right? It's either Matthews and Marner or McDavid and Draisaitl. So, but again, like with the Oilers, it's kind of like the goaltending issue. Same thing with the Leafs. Like, Mike Smith has been nuts this year, but he is old and he's injury prone. So if he goes down game 1, we're left with Koskinen in goal. They're screwed. Okay, Koskinen is not going to get them to win whatsoever. I mean, he was okay today. He made 24 saves, but I mean, that Lehkonen goal is a nice shot, but you know, if you're goalie, you got to stop that. So he's not trustworthy whatsoever. The boys in front of him are going to be doubting everything that goes by him. So that's another concern that they have. But I'm just checking the scores here, and Vancouver scored again, so it's 3-1 against Winnipeg with 8 minutes left. Obviously, this does not mean we're going to play against the Oilers if Vancouver wins, but it would help us catch up with the Jets, who have been on a massive slump lately. I mean, they won a game recently, but holy shit, what is going on with Winnipeg?
They're another team that suffered the injury bug coming down the stretch too. So I kind of feel for them. Lowry going down, Wheeler went down, Nick Ehlers went down. They're kind of just, like I said, just stumbling into playoffs like the Montreal Canadiens are. But just to touch on the Edmonton thing, I think you're right with the goaltending scenario because at the start of the year, Edmonton struggled when Smith was out. But I was so happy today as a Habs fan. I know this is selfish and nothing against Koskinen personally, but when I saw him starting tonight, I was like, oh boy, come on. And then they still made it interesting, which is the worst part. But I noticed too, like there was like the last 30 seconds, 20 seconds, like Edmonton could have made a push there in the third period. The chances of them scoring pretty low, but they kind of like kept it behind their own net. And I was like, oh, thank God they're letting their boys clinch. It's like they did everything in their power to help Montreal clinch tonight, and Montreal still made it difficult. But hey, they got the 1 point. That's all that matters.
Or maybe they prevented Calgary from having a chance because, you know, the Battle of Alberta, they have a little grudge against them. So maybe they just wanted to like give a little finger to Calgary. Like, nah, you won't have a chance. Sorry, guys. But
I just wanted to point out that Antoine here, hello from Louisiana. That's awesome. We love hearing from people that are tuning in from far away. I know we've had a couple Sweden, Japan, stuff like that. So just a shout out to Antoine. That's pretty cool. Go Habs, go Antoine.
Yeah, we're like number one hockey thing in Japan, if I'm wrong, right? It was something like that. I think James said that. Like that. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's so cool. I need to learn Japanese.
So this is one thing I kind of want to point out here. Should we be worried that we can't beat an unhealthy Leafs team? I mean, Montreal has been banged up for a while, so I'm not that worried about Toronto, to be quite honest with you, especially when the Habs have been missing 6-7 of their core guys. So I just want to toss that one out quick. We have another super chat here. Sorry to jump in. Thoughts on KK and Suzuki and Romanov before playoffs? I'll let you go first.
I'll start with Suzuki. This guy is built for big occasions. I mean, in the crunch time, you want Suzuki on the ice. So I think, we've seen him in the bubble last season. He was nuts. Him and Drouin were just tearing it up, and KK too was great in the bubble. So I don't know if he can get back to it, but I'm super excited to see Romanov get a playoff opportunity here because he's another guy that kind of can win. We saw what he did to Jujhar Khaira a few games back, where he just left him, a little doozy there. But if he can play on his strength, which is physicality, that's a great guy to have on your lineup against Toronto, especially. Like you want those guys like Matthews and Marner to be worn down pretty good. So I don't know. You can touch on that a little bit.
I agree. It's Suzuki said this I think a week or two ago. He's like, we just got to peak at the right time. These guys knew they had a high probability of making playoffs. So I know they're trying every night, but they know like playoffs is when it really matters. So I think you are correct. I think you're going to see a beast Suzuki in playoffs like he was in the bubble. I think you will. I think you'll see KK bounce back as well, just because these guys have been. The KK and Suzuki, I don't think have missed much, if any, games this year. So they're kind of feeling that schedule. So I think with a rested young squad of KK, Suzuki, and Romanov, I think you will see them bounce back and playing better hockey than they have down the stretch. I just think they're gassed. Personally, that's what I think it is. I know some people think it's an excuse, but if you play 7 NHL games in 11 days, you're not going to have any legs. Like there's nothing there. But there's an interesting point here is how Montreal has kind of – I know McDavid scored the last couple of games against them, but this point here from Antoine is why don't they play Matthews like they play McDavid, the shadow kind of game?
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know what to say to that one because like they're kind of different players. I see them as super like complete different players. Obviously, they're both insanely talented, but Matthews just has a way to find – a spot to be. He can see the game in advance, and McDavid can as well, but McDavid's just so fast that he can get anywhere in a blink of an eye. So Matthews kind of has to see the game like 3-4 steps ahead, and he gets himself in that position where he just gets the tip in or the easy goal or the nice wrister. But it's so hard to put in a game plan against those two guys because they're just next level talents. They're
Great
insane.
points. I like that. You're 100% right. Matthews, sorry, he uses his hockey IQ and size to find those open spaces or create some open spaces where Marner or whoever the other line mate is, they bounce around with Hyman, Thornton, and those guys. But Matthews, sorry, I keep saying it. He always finds the right spot, and McDavid just uses pure speed to create his opportunities. And I'm not saying that McDavid isn't a smart high hockey IQ player, which he is, because he creates those chances from his speed, knowing where to go and when to be. It's just you're 100% right, a different kind of player. Where I don't know if shadowing a guy that's not going around that fast, creating that much room. I don't know. Maybe they do try it. Maybe they're just waiting. But it's a great point, but it's also a great rebuttal with those two being completely different players, but also very high-end talent, just the same.
Yeah, that's a great question, Antoine, though.
Yeah,
it's such a hard thing for like the coaching staff to study those guys because they're just so like they evolve and they adapt to whoever they're playing. So it's almost impossible to have a game plan going against them. You just want to put all your players on their ass and hope for the best. That's what it comes down to, unfortunately.
So what I'm trying to look at the chat here. Stuart Ashton said, "Great stuff, fellas. Go Habs, go." A lot of people, some people noticed I got rid of the old stash, which was a 1 month bet, and then just happens that the Montreal Canadiens are doing mustaches as well. But I had to shave mine off for work. Maybe I'll grow one out for the playoffs. We'll see. But hey, I shaved and they won. So, or they didn't win. They got the 1 point. So maybe it was good luck. But
that's some going there.
Yeah.
And Nick would be proud. She's the superstitious one. she's gonna be on your ass now. You got to shave every game.
Deeks has to stay at work, and I got to shave every night before a game.
That's it. Don't come home, Deeks.
So yeah, it is Joe Pelletier. It does look like it's going to be Habs versus Leafs. Where I know we touched on it a little bit tonight, but Wednesday, Dale and myself will be breaking down like the Habs kind of stretch leading into clinching the spot and also the playoff matchup. I think we'll know a little bit more come Wednesday, I think, especially after the game. Yes, some people just keep pointing out a lot of the Leaf stuff in here, and then Habs are battered and tired. Yeah, we touched on it a bunch. Just happy they made it in. Like, we're pumped they clinched. Just hopefully this week off kind of doesn't mess up a rhythm, but hopefully like it gets them enough rest where they come out flying, but also doesn't kind of, set them back.
Just to touch on the game we're following here, Vancouver is still leading 3-1 with 5 minutes to play. So good to keep an eye. I'm going to keep an eye on this one for everybody.
And I think there's not much more else going on in the chat. I think we'll start wrapping this one up. It's you and Nick did Autour de la Ligue today, where I caught some of my pointers because I do pay attention to that one to make my French better at work. So I appreciate you guys doing that show. So that came out earlier on today. We've got some. We posted an island clip earlier on this morning. Crushing cans last Friday. We got an official beer sponsor with Torque Brewing in Winnipeg, which was absolutely massive. So thank God for Torque jumping on the Habs tonight team. We've got some more stuff coming. Wednesday night with Dale. It's going to be right after the game, kind of like a post-game playoff preview kind of feel. And then I'm not sure. I think we're going to have a few people on Friday on Cans where we're just going to do like a playoff preview of the whole league. So if you're a Montreal Canadian fan that aren't able to pay attention to other teams, check out the French show at Autour de la Ligue where they touch on the NHL besides just the Montreal Canadiens. And then Crushing Cans on Friday, we will be doing that where we talk who's playing who in the playoff series, what we think, predictions. And I know, Shane, you saw today Derek made a Habs tonight playoff bracket. So if you're a fan of our show, go to our social medias, follow, like, subscribe, and jump in on this playoff bracket. Let's see if we'll see who can win this one.
I'm feeling a few upsets, to be honest with you. Like, I'm looking over at Nashville against Carolina, and Nashville is beating them 5-0 right now. So everybody's saying, like, Carolina's got this in the bag. They're first in the division. pump the brakes here. You might have an upset coming. So the playoffs this season are going to be nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that'll be just about it for tonight's post-game show. So make sure you just subscribe to the channel. Check out all of our videos. We release clips on the daily, tons of content, and we are getting in playoff mode with Habs tonight. So I am absolutely pumped.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate all the support, all the comments. It's fun interacting with you guys. We'll see you Wednesday night for We See Wednesday. Cheers, guys.
Take care.